Nothing worth having comes easy. A very good evening and a warm welcome to all of you to our webinar on how to get IT jobs in product-based company conducted by digisaksham. I am Sampada Mishra and I'll be hosting today's webinar. Before I proceed, let me take a brief moment for the introduction of the organization. digisaksham is another initiative of SEMS Welfare Foundation and has developed content for over 300 courses in multiple languages which range from 4 hours to 6 months in various sectors of IT, BFSI, retail, and entrepreneurship for all age groups, from school children, youth, professionals, and senior citizens. DJ Saksham has also conducted more than 100 webinars, 10 FTPS and workshops, 6 international conferences. DJ Saksham impacted more than 15,000 plus lives through various webinars, conferences, workshops, and seminars across the globe. The topic how to get IT job in a product based company is a very uplifting topic, which leads to an importance of job in one's life. I'm sure all of you must be having a few questions in mind, such as how to get into product based company. Why is it so really important? What significance does it hold in IT sector and many? I'm sure you'll find out in the end. With this, I would like to introduce our guest speaker for the day, Mr. Sheetala P. Tiwari. He is a software engineer in Expedia Group. His main focus is AI for a better future for humanity. He spends a lot of time working with humans and understanding why they think or what they think. He designed various deep learning and machine learning solutions for custom requirements. He produces quality content around AI and DSA to help and grow in your professional career. He also provides consultation on personal and professional growth. He has worked with several big organizations like Optum and early stage startups like Dogship, Unreal AI.
Thank you, Sampada. Thank you for the introduction. First of all, I would like to thank you for SEMS and digisaksham for asking me to host this webinar. And second of all, this topic is very closest to my journey in the tech industry and how I started. And I hope all of you will get very deep insight into how product-based companies work and how you can work for them. So I will start with a little bit of my intro. So my name is Sheetala Tiwari, and I have done my bachelor degree in computer science from Triple IT Una. And I have done several internships in machine learning, AI, deep learning, and I have worked with several startups. I co-founded one startup on data science and machine learning. And then I worked with a very big organization, Optum, United Health Group. And then I joined a very good company that is Expedia Group. And right now I'm working with Expedia Group as a software developer. So that is a little bit about myself. Now let's get back to our second point. That is what is PBC? What is product based companies? Okay. So there are two companies in the space, in the tech space. First is service based and second is product based. Okay. So what is difference between service based and product based companies? So the service based companies are the companies who don't produce something of their own. They are dependent upon their customers to give them task and work to do. So in the service base, there are various companies like TCS, HCL, Wipro, Tech Mahindra. These companies do not produce anything of their own. They work as a service provider for other big giant companies. Okay. So these are service based companies, and product based companies are the companies who produce something of their own. They have their own products. Like Google is a service based company. They have various products like Google Search, Gmail, Google Photos, Drive, Google Cloud Platform, everything. Like Facebook is a product based company. Facebook and like the Twitter is a product based company. Expedia Group is a product based company. And LinkedIn is a product based company. So company who produce something of their own and they use their engineering and their management and marketing efforts to develop and build that product of their own, these companies are known as a product based company. Now we discussed that what is product based companies. Now we can move on to why product based company, why you should join them. So the biggest factor as a student could be the money. No kidding, money is the biggest factor for anyone who is trying to get a job. That could be the first. And the second could be the choice of expression, the freedom of creativity. That could be your second reason to join product based company. And what do I mean by this freedom of creativity and freedom of choice? So suppose you are in a service based company, and service based company has a client. Take example of TCS, Tata Consultancy Service, and they have a very big client, suppose ICICI Bank. And now ICICI Bank is making a platform for their users, and they want 100 Java developers to work for that platform. Now TCS will hire you only if you know Java, because their customer needs Java developer. And if you are a fresher, then you have no choice but to learn Java. If you know Python, you are out. You know C++, you are out. If you want to join TCS and they have this particular requirement that they want 100 Java developers, then TCS will only hire you if you know Java. Okay. And this is not the freedom we want. But in case of product based companies, they are not dependent upon the tech stack. They don't care if you know Java, they don't care if you know C++, they don't care if you know Python. They want to test you that how you can solve problem. Okay. So if you know how to solve the problems, the product based companies will hire you, because they don't want any tech specific person. Because if you see, technology is evolving every single day, and if you know a very latest technology, say AI, deep learning, machine learning, or any kind of framework in JavaScript, this framework will become obsolete in next 5 to 10 years. And these product based companies are evolving very fast. Even they evolve quarter by quarter, and their product base and their code base increases. It gets more and more complex. So they do not care whether you know Java or Python. They are not very concerned about your tech stack. They're not very concerned about what kind of language you know, what kind of framework you know, what kind of operating systems you use. They only want that you have problem solving abilities. You know how to pick a problem, break it down into pieces, and then solve it. Okay. So the first why to join PBC is money, and the second why to join PBC is freedom. You have freedom of choice, you have freedom of expression, you have freedom of creativity. You can even ask internal team that this product looks good to me, I want to work on that. They will give you choice, they will give you training, they will give you resources for that particular thing, and you can prepare for that and you can work on that. Okay. So that's that. And regarding the money and the benefits that these PBC companies provide, it is very, 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 very high end. So, and in this also PBC, there are various categories, and I'm only concerned about the freshers here. So suppose if you join a PBC that is in tier 1, their minimum base is 10 to 12 LPA. So this is the minimum criteria they follow generally in the industry. And these are not researched or any very reliable data, but this is how these things work. So if you join any PBC that is in tier 3 range, they will offer you this much package. If you join any companies that is above tier 3, that is above, in tier 2, then their package will range from 13 to 20. And I'm talking about tier 2 companies. I would not name what companies are those, but if you search on the internet about tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 product based company, you can get idea. And the next one is tier 1 companies. These are very, 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 very good companies like Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Amazon, obviously Expedia Group, Twitter, LinkedIn. These companies offer you in CTC of 30 plus, sorry, they offer you CTC of 30 plus LP. And these packages are very lucrative. And that's why there is very competitive space to get into the PBC. And first is money, but after some times money stops being the first motivation factor for you. Then you search for freedom and creativity, work-life balance, all these things come. But for the fresher, it's mainly money and freedom. So that's why you should join product-based company. I hope I was able to convince you on this point. And now you decided that you want to join product-based company. Now, what are they looking for in you? Okay, so every company is a startup at some point. Okay, so whenever a company starts its journey, it's always a startup. Okay, there is an idea. Suppose how Facebook started. Okay, so they wanted to build a platform where people can chat, where people can interact, where people can build a community. This was a very basic idea, but they didn't know that it would be on the scale of billions of users every single day interacting on their platform. So every company is a startup, and they run into two major problems whenever they are trying to grow. The first major problem is problem solving, and second is scaling. So what do I mean by problem solving? So suppose when Facebook started, they had this problem of dealing with their massive data. They are having millions of chats, millions of photos every single day, and there are users, friends of friends, users of users, and they wanted to build something that can make sense of all these connections. So suppose in the problem solving, you are working in a Facebook as an engineer, and you want to design a friend system that can find out, like suppose I am friend with you, and now you want to show me my second connection. That would lead to a problem of tree graph. So these are the problem solving strategies that they wanted in any engineer they want to. I hope you all are using LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, in there are various things like first connection, then second connection, and then third connection. So how these things are working behind the servers, and how these codes are working, these are actual problem solving. Okay, and second was scaling to billions and millions of users, scaling to tera and petabytes of data, to build that kind of platform that can handle these data and that can make these services uninterrupted, like that can provide customers uninterrupted services. So that's where this scaling comes up. Like suppose there are only 10 users communicating with each other, it's not a problem. You can use simple input and output system. You are good. But if there are millions of users interacting, then you have to go for various options like load balancing, multi-threading. There are lots of things that used in scaling any system, any large scale system. So they want people who can solve these two problems. First, they have really good problem solving skills. Second, they know how to scale any system. So any company who is beginning and or who is a unicorn, or like at Facebook and Google level, still they have these things because they are evolving, they are solving new and new problems. Like Facebook is pivoting now and making a meta, something in AR, VR, and AI space. So they are still looking for these people. So if you want to get good at problem solving, there are two things you need to know, and that is data structure, and second is algorithm. Data structure is how a computer stores anything, and algorithm is how to solve any problem. And second, if you want to learn and get good at how scaling works, then you need to know about system design. And in system design, there are various things like low level design and high level design. So I'm not going to discuss in detail about what low level design and high level design is, but you can take this note, and you can make a Google search. You can do a simple Google search, and you'll get to know. So these are two things they want in every single candidate they are looking. So I hope I'm clear with the fourth point, that what these companies want. Okay, now the major hurdle and the major problem is how you can prepare for that. So you are in college, and when I was in the college, I did not have any idea like how these things work, how to prepare for data structures, algorithms, and low level design, high level design. So whatever I saw on the internet, I went for that. So whenever you open Google, there is someone teaching about web development. There is someone teaching about front end, back end. There is someone teaching about data science, data analytics. So there are various stream of fields that you can go. But here's the catch. I wish I knew this when I was in the college, but I had no idea. I'm not saying that if you know web development, or you are a good front end developer or back end developer, you will not get a job. Surely you will get a job. But the point is, you have to be good in problem solving. And these companies are not looking for a front end and back end developer in a fresher. So the first step will be, stop doing everything you are doing in your tech in tech journey, if you're doing front end, back end, AI, machine learning, data science, just to stop it. I know it might sound very harsh and rude, but I wish I have done that during my college time. Stop doing that, or like limit that. If you can't stop that, you really enjoy web development, I wouldn't say that you stop it completely, but I will say that limit it and find some time to start learning about data structures and algorithms. This will be your sure short way to get into product based company. I have seen a very good web developer got rejected, and I have seen a normal DSA guy who knows how normal data structures and how simple algorithms work get a very high package around 20 to 25 lakhs. Now just see, the web development guy worked very hard. He like, when you start doing web development, let's take example of web development, there is various thing you need to do. You have to set up the ID, you have to learn the framework, suppose HTML5, or in the CSS there is some framework like Bootstrap. And then if you're doing in front end, there are React JS. If you're doing in back end, there is Node.js. So you have to learn these frameworks, and trust me, they are really hard to follow, and they are really hard to learn. He also invested a lot of time in learning the web development, but the guy who invested a simple and normal approach and learned about DSA, did coding, he became more successful in terms of placement and whatnot. So I would say, if you're in the college and you're learning about these things, and you are you're not sure that how to get job, and if these things will work out, I will say stop doing them and start learning data structures and algorithms. This will make your life really easy, and it will lead you to very successful tech journey. And if you're trying to learn data structures and algorithm, there is very common question that which language I should use. I would suggest, if you don't know any language, go for C++. And if you're already comfortable with any language, go with that. But the C++ is a kind of universal standards. But unfortunately, I don't code in C++. I was very familiar with Python, because in the beginning of my college, in second year, third year, I was very interested in machine learning and the Python rules in the machine learning world. So I started learning Python, and now I only code in Python, but I wish I knew C++ or Java. So if you are in the beginning and you don't know any language, I would request you to go for C++ or Java. But if you're already comfortable with any other language, then obviously, by all means, go with that. But make sure in these three languages, you know at least one of them, because these are the language that interviewers and these companies prefer to code in and to ask you to code. So okay, uh, I think we are still on this topic on how to prepare. So if you want to prepare for data structures and algorithms, there are various sources on the internet that you can use. The first one will be one of my favorite, and it is Geek for Geeks, a really good website, and have lots of tutorials and questions that you can solve, that you can use. And I think you can spend a little bit money on their paid courses as well. It's good to have. So Geek for Geeks is the top thing that you can try regarding your data structures and algorithm. And you are very energetic, and you can read whatever you want to, you can do whatever you want to, but the point is what to do. It's very necessary to know that what things to focus on. So go with the Geek for Geeks basic courses on data structures and algorithm. And once you are really comfortable, then go on Lead Code and try to solve problems on Lead Code. And this is very secret thing that you should know, that most of the companies and most of the engineers who will interview you in any company, they are picking their codes and they're picking their problems from Lead Code. So if you have solved Lead Code problems, even I won't say that you had to solve all of the problems, but if you can solve near to 300 problems, you're good. If you can search top 300 problems on Lead Code, there will be some resources you can find and go and solve these problems. But make sure you first read through all the data structures and algorithms on the Geek for Geeks. And now if you still have time and you really want to go for it and you're really enthusiastic, I would say try Code Forces. Personally, I tried it, but I found it was too difficult for me, so I couldn't continue it for very long time. It was on and off kind of relationship for me with the Code Forces. First I visited sometimes, then I was off for the sometimes, because because questions on Code Forces was very hard. And at some point I gave up. No, I don't want to do these many problems. But this Lead Code and Geek for Geeks, these are must to do problems and must to visit website if you really want to get into the product based company. And I would suggest, then this is for data structures and algorithms. And then for system design, and one more thing, when I was in the college, I had this idea in my mind that I don't want to do coding. I don't like data structures and algorithms. So I will first try to get any job, and then I will try to get some experience, maybe 1 year, 2 year, or something like that. And then I will make a switch into bigger companies. Trust me, I wish it happened, but it's not the case. No matter how experienced you are, no matter how much experience you have, anytime you want to make a switch into product based companies, they will ask you that data structures, algorithms, and system design problems. There is no other way around. So if you are in the tech industry, if you want to make your career in the tech industry, you have to have knowledge of data structures and algorithm. If you have 1 year experience, if you have 10 year experience, 100-year experience, I don't care. You have to know data structures and algorithms and system design. So this was the myth that I wanted to bust. If any one of you are thinking ki, let's not focus on this and get a job and then have experience and then made a switch, no, it is not going to happen. You have to have these fundamental knowledge. So regarding system design, you can go for YouTube. There are various things on YouTube. If you make a simple search on system design. And regarding system design, if you are a fresher, then I would say only focus on OOPS, object oriented programming. And if you have 1 or 2 years of experience, then you can also go for LLD and HLD. But if you have like less than 1 years of experience, or you're just a fresher, then this LLD and HLD is not that much important for you. You can just learn the concepts and how OOPS work, object oriented programming works, and then you can really make a good impression in your interviews, because interviewers know what to ask based on the candidate's experience. So this is how you prepare for system design. For fresher, system design means OOPS. So don't get confused. So the 6th point is your resume and how to apply. So this is the toughest part for a candidate, just to get into the interview. If these companies are offering this much money to any candidate, just imagine how much competition will be for every job. It is very tough field. So all you can do, like, it takes only 6 seconds for a interviewer or for a recruiter to look into your resume. And if in 6 seconds you don't make any good impact, or you did not follow their standards, you're out. It doesn't matter how good you are in data structures and algorithms or system design. If you don't get interview, you don't get a chance to prove your worth. So you have to be very focused on your resume part. What type of format you have to follow, what kind of keywords you need to embed in your resume so that it can pass your ATS. So ATS is application tracking system. So if you're applying to any company, then before any recruiter, any human recruiter watches or go through your resume, it passes through ATS, application tracking system. And there are some tips and tricks that you have to know and you have to embed into your resume so that you can pass this ATS. And 80% of resume get blocked before the ATS, so they don't even appear in front of the recruiter. So if you're like, I know some of you are applying to hundreds of companies and not getting any interview or any interview call. This happens because your resume isn't crossing that ATS bar. So there are tips and tricks and ideas that you can use to crack this ATS game, and you have to learn about this. So everything that I mentioned in this doc, I would say just make a Google search and try to really understand these concepts. It will really help you. So the resume and this ATS part is really good. And you have to know about these. And even there is a idea in naming of your resume. So most of us, what we do that, like new resume 2021.pdf. This is our name. This is the name of our resume. But whenever a recruiter will see, he will completely reject by only just seeing your naming convention. So you have to know how to name your resume properly. So before even they open your resume, you have to make a good impression in your resume by naming it properly. So these are some ideas and tips that you have to follow. And then second is how to apply. This is a very controversial topic, but let me throw some light on this. 90 to 80 to 90% of hiring that happens in product based companies are through referrals. If you are trying to apply through their career page or the LinkedIn or anything, there is high chances that you will get rejected. I don't know why it happens. I don't know the reason behind it, but I know this happens. I applied through almost hundreds of companies during my job search, and none of them replied. But when I tried with the referral, it worked. My reply rate went up to 50%. Like if I'm applying through referral with the 10 companies, then out of them, 5 are approaching me with the online test link and interview calls. So make sure you are present on LinkedIn and you have good connections with people who are working on in these companies. That's the way to get referral in these companies. So make sure you do that. I would say that 80 to 90% is only through referrals, and rest of them are through applying on their career site and their LinkedIn pages. So, and the second is luck and timing. So whenever I say luck, it plays a major role in your success, but you get lucky when you work hard at it. Okay. So if you want to get lucky, then make sure to apply to every company you see, apply to every job position you see, send out requests to every person on LinkedIn, ask them for referral, try to solve every problem you come across. And whenever you are preparing for a company, try to go with their previous year questions, try to find their archives on Geek for Geeks, try to do everything you can do. And regarding timing, you need to know that what's the time when most of companies are hiring. So if you want to know about that, then look at your college schedules. Whenever your college is releasing fresh graduates, that's the time these companies are hiring fresh. So make sure you're connected with these companies and visit LinkedIn daily and make it your habit that everyone is like everyone keeps posting about their jobs, like they're opening in their companies. So make sure to have an eye on that, and because that's how luck and timing works. So don't feel frustrated, don't feel disappointed, because if you apply to hundreds of jobs, there is a only 4% conversion rate in tech industry. And I'm saying only about the interview calls. So if you apply to 100 companies, then only 4 of them will ask you for the interview, and maybe one of them will ask you to join the company. So don't get frustrated and don't stop applying. If your first 10, 20 or 5 application gets rejected, or you get mail that sorry, we are moving with any other candidate, it will happen. It happens to everyone, and it's not a big deal. So the last part is some tips on how to do it. The first and foremost tip will be read about ATS, application tracking system, and how to beat that, and try to improve your resume regarding that, according to that. And then second tip will be, whenever you are going for an interview, look for the company's past year question. This will really help you. And from my personal experience, in all the interviews I appeared, all of them asked some questions from their previous interviews, or them some previous questions. So it will happen, and it will really help you. Second, like don't stress it out, because more you stress about getting the job, more you will not get it. So just be cool and try to solve one problem, two problem every day, and keep applying. So this will help you to keep your ego in check and stress in check, and that's how you will do it. So I hope in last 45 minutes I was able to give some insight. And now I'm open to questions. If you have any, then please ask.
Yes, sir. So we have a question from Nurmamode. He's asking about resume format, like if there is any specific format we should use.
Yes, there is a format that you have to use, and I will try to share the link. Just give me a second. So regarding resume format, always try to put it in PDF, and there is a website that is overleaf.com, correct? So this is the website that I used for my resume building. And just to make sure, there is no one single sort resume format. You have to do some kind of testing that what kind of resume is working for me. Mainly you have to look for things like your resume should not be very cluttered or very dense. You have to make it very like kind of visually good. So you can visit this website, and there are various format of resume that you can.
So, thank you very much, sir, for giving us your valuable time. Your webinar was truly amazing, and I am sure it has impacted each one of us here. I also extend my gratitude to all the participants for attending this webinar. And last but not the least, the SEMS group for making this webinar a success.